This is the future.
One thing that I like about the Sisters of Parvos update is it brought rewards to some of the hard content in Warframe. Players asked for hard content, or somehow challenging missions, and Digital Extremes brought Steel Path missions. So why do Steel Path aside from a little bit of challenge playing the game? First, Umbra Former. This special type of former are available in Steel Path Honors once every 8 weeks. And mind you, the Steel Path Honors also houses 50k Kuva, 3 times built former, and Riven mods which rotates every week. There's also the 10k Kuva which you can use to reroll your Riven mods. In fact, Steel Path is one of the best ways right now to farm Kuva, and it was better in the past before Digital Extremes nerf Steel Essence farming. There are also other rewards that you might want to check out in the Steel Path Honors in Teshin, like Endo or even Cypher that unveils a Riven instantly without doing the challenge. Also, there are those adapters that you can use to equip the new primary and secondary arcanes. And of course, Steel Path houses the Acolytes, which now drops the primary and secondary arcanes that you can either equip in your weapons, or stack and sell to other players for some hefty amount of platinum. The best one to sell right now is the Merciless variant, since it has better buff for both primary and secondary guns. But that's just my opinion, and you can check the Warframe.market for reference. So anyway, Steel Path has become one of those game modes that are both rewarding and somehow challenging. Well, it's not that challenging to those who already have the mods and set up to kill high-level enemies, but it's somehow a goal for those new players as it rewards some of the stuff needed to further improve your combos and synergies. So how do you farm Steel Essence after the nerf? By the way, Squad Leader, what did Digital Extremes nerf? There are a couple actually, but there are 3 big nerfs that made the Steel Essence farm slower. First, the developer migrated Steel Essence to Acolytes and Steel Path incursion missions instead of being obtainable through Eximus units. The best way to farm Acolytes in the past is just to sit in endless survival missions. The best one is in Ophelia, and just do the missions until you are satisfied with the amount of Steel Essence you have. But then, that got changed and Digital Extremes decided to give us the Steel Path incursions. Every day, 5 Steel Path incursion alerts are available. Each reward 5 Steel Essence upon completion, to a total of 25 Steel Essence. And then, we can also farm Steel Essence on Acolytes. While some players got mad about this, but I wasn't that affected by this and somehow love the changes. Anyway, I can still farm them, and I don't usually do endless runs in the past just to farm Steel Essence since I only need it for some Kuva or the Umbra Former. But nowadays, I farm it to get some platinum out of the primary and secondary arcanes. Not to mention that I can also use it for Kuva and roll my Rivens to get good stats and sell it to other players. But last month, some changes were made that were so disappointing on my part. Steel Essence is affected by both Resource Booster and the Charm buff of Smita Kavat. When you have a Resource Booster, you can get 4 times Steel Essence than the usual 2, and if you have Resource Booster and then the Smita Kavat Resource Drop Boost from its Charm buff of rocks, you get 8 Steel Essence from an Acolyte. What I usually do is run a Steel Path survival mission, usually Terra Remedemos, since I'm also farming nanospores and mutagen samples for pheromones in the Helminth system. And what I do is to not equip any fetch mods on both my Smita Kavat and Venari so that I won't accidentally pick up the Steel Essence. Once the Acolyte spawn, I run into a corner far from my Strangledome and then ensnare the Acolyte and kill it. Once defeated, I just leave the Steel Essence in that place and wait for the resource boost proc of my Smita Kavat to proc so I can get 8 instead of the usual 4 Steel Essence with resource booster. But last month, dated July 6, 2021, Digital Extremes added a despawn mechanic to Steel Essence drop. Steel Essence will now remain on the ground for 5 minutes before disappearing. They also fixed an exploit where and for non-endless missions, most notably Sabotage, a max of 3 Acolytes will spawn and their levels will incrementally increase with every new Acolyte spawn. This change addresses and fixes the AFK Acolyte spawning exploit within Steel Path Sabotage missions, and ultimately, it fixes the Steel Essence 5-minute despawn timer not functioning after you've moved a certain distance away. It's like Digital Digital Extremes are telling us that if you want Steel Essence, then you will need to earn it the hard way. While I agree with the sabotage exploit removal, I still think that the despawn mechanic is a very bad addition to Steel Essence farming, as it's not breaking any rules but just taking advantage of things that make farming a lot faster. It's not like every 27 seconds the charm buff will proc the resource booster, and, in my opinion, this makes Smeeta Kavat worth using in Steel Path, as it plays a big role in making the farm a lot faster. I disagree with the despawn mechanic, as it hinders those players who want to stay in the mission and farm a lot of Steel Essence in one go. It's like rewarding those players who want to farm Steel Essence fast and has the right setup for the job. But now, it's back to square one. You can still take advantage of the Smeeta Kavat buff, and get 8 times Steel Essence, but doing this in an endless run would be disadvantageous. What I do now is run at least 10 minutes, or the safest would be 5 minutes Steel Path survival, because this is the time Acolyte spawns. I do the usual no fetch mod on my companion, then run in a corner far from the Strangle Dome to lure the Acolyte and kill it. Then, I just wait for the resource buff to proc. Remember that resource buff lasts 120 seconds and longer if you have Tech Enhance. If you spot a cat icon with 120 plus seconds timer, then that is the buff that you are looking for, and that's the time to get your Steel Essence. After that, I just finish the mission and run it again. 8 times Steel Essence per 5 minutes is the max I can do right now, and if you have a better method, then feel free to share it in the comment section below. Also, you can check out the core build I'm using in this video after the break. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.